Right, we're apparently live now, so we'll just need to wait for people to come in. Nobody in at the moment apart from us. We'll wait to see if anybody does. If they don't, we'll be talking to ourselves. So,
Yes.
I can live with that. So, yeah, like I was saying, that video I was just watching, very interesting. I might actually do a series of my own, going into things, that are specifically for heart attack related, along the lines of pathology, and see if I can actually get, some stuff sorted on it and do a couple of videos on it. Desperate to get out with Jace now, because Jace wants to do some, he wants to go out and do some spirit boxes and stuff like that. And we've got a churchyard series planned right before all this bloody stuff started. So he's knocked us on the head sort of thing. Hi everybody, welcome anybody who's coming in.
Hello.
Hi Jane. Oh Sam, this is so much better. I can see everything on here now.
Yes, I'm about 10 inches shorter than I was 10 seconds ago.
You've started thinking already, Sam.
Yep.
Right, guys, we're trying a new setup tonight. I've had a new lead I've ordered off off Amazon, so I'm now basically running on a 2-monitor setup. So I've got the main streaming screen running on a 48-inch TV, and I've got all the chat on a 27-inch 3D monitor. So it's all rather nice at the moment. Hi Jace, welcome in. Hi Dorothy. Hi James. Nice to see you all in. We were just talking about pathology basically, and various things we've got planned. I'm hoping we're going to get some good news tomorrow, because apparently the government are going to make some announcement regarding the lockdown. I don't think they're going to be letting us out tomorrow, but I do think they're going to be relaxing a lot of the shops and stuff, which is good news. Something else I'd like you to know, the money that I collected off Super Chats and the money I've had donated through PayPal has actually been put towards some equipment for the channel itself. I have ordered some pieces off IKEA for a brand new desk, so we're going to be having a new, come the end of May, because IKEA are on a very slow delivery schedule at the moment. I've ordered desk drawers and a new worktop, so we can have a full-sized studio desk built in the living room. Next thing I'm saving up for is obviously the chair and things like a desk mic and stuff like that. But I just want people to know that the money you donated up until this point has actually gone on the channel, and it's gone to buy a new desk, so I can get the computer set up properly and the monitors all laid out nicely for better streams. So thank you very much for all the donations and stuff that you've given, because they really have helped me a lot. Sam, what have you got planned? Have you got anything planned for when this lockdown starts easing up?
I can't wait to get to a restaurant, because my cooking sucks.
Is it that bad, is it?
Yes. I'm keeping myself safe from the lockdown, but I'm suffering because of my own cooking.
Oh God!
But I can't wait to get to the coast. Get to the beach, get to nice castles and stuff. Just to get out and about and that. My plans were to go further afield this year, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen now. But
where were you planning on going, Sam?
Well, different parts of the country, like further down Donegal, around my hometown. We had planned to go to Philip and Caroline's end of the country as well.
Right.
Because
you heard how Philip and Caroline are?
Sorry?
You heard how Philip and Caroline are, because they've got COVID, haven't they?
Yes, but that's that was the plan way before this all happened, because they're only an hour away from me,
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Is that
know,
an hour's drive?
yes, yeah. It's on the other end of the border of Northern Ireland, but it's just down from Belfast, sort of thing.
Right.
We sort of had planned from last year, and then we put it off till this year, but we just have to work with what we have. We may have a restriction possibly this year of inside 100 miles or whatever.
Yeah.
Which would make an awful lot of sense. People not traveling any further than 100 miles, say. We got to work with that. That's all we can do. Which means I still can get along the Donegal coast and parts where I haven't filmed before, but some of it is absolutely wonderful. It's really, really good.
Are there any famous haunted locations down there that we've got to look forward to?
Well, I don't really go for famous haunted locations. I just go for places,
Yeah.
I'd rather film and do some ITC in places that other people haven't done,
Mm-hmm. So right, I'm just reading the chat. Sam and Jason telling lies to Selena about me being hard to look after. I'm actually really easy to look after, believe it or not. I'm very easy to feed and stuff, regardless of what he claims. Ignore Jason, he does love being a martyr. Gin and Burger King takeout. Yeah, like I say, Sam, we got some graveyard stuff back because I've never done any cemetery work because I've always been of the opinion that you don't need to be in a cemetery to find anything like that anyway.
Cemeteries are starting to get a little bit of a bad name.
Yeah,
did you notice that recently?
Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, I can't see why a person would want to hang around where they're buried anyway. Because it's only where what is left of their physical remains are, and from the spiritual side of things, I really can't see the majority of spirits being that attached to their mortal remains, so to speak, especially when they've been there, hundreds of years and they've pretty much rotted away. So, but I wanted to do graveyards just solely because we haven't actually done any on the channel yet. The other big thing I've got to do, which I did promise, was once we hit 1,000 subscribers, was we were going to go back to Wombwell Woods and possibly do an all-nighter. So I'm going to have to get that all sorted out as soon as the lockdown's lifted. Very interesting location, Wombwell Woods. I'll be happy to take anybody who lives local to Rotherham or Barnsley, more than happy for them to come and join us for that. They can come for a couple of hours or they can come for the night if they want to, but I want to do a long session at Wombwell Woods because in the last session we got a lot of decent communication down at the pond, which Jason kept insisting was a river, but it's not, it's actually a pond. And I believe there's a story, there's a very sad story there. I got the impression there's a lot of melancholy surrounding that pool. There's a story there that needs telling. And I don't think anybody who's done the wood has actually got out of there yet. But we got some very interesting communication there the last time we went, and I really want to get back and finish that story off. But like I say, anybody who's local to Barnsley or Rotherham or Sheffield is more than welcome to come and join us at Wombwell if they want to that night. It'll be a good night. The wood itself is pitch black after dark, and I mean pitch black. If you turn your torch off when you're there, you cannot see a thing. So once you're, if you're on the outskirts of the wood, obviously you can see street lights and things like that. But if you go deep into the woods where we go, there is literally just no light there at all, no light pollution or nothing. Absolutely brilliant. Yes, Kath, I was really enjoying your.
A lot of my locations are gone on.
Go on, Sam. Go on, Sam, what were you going to say?
A lot of my locations have actually gone under redevelopment.
Oh, you're joking.
Yeah, 4 or 5 locations redevelopment. Somebody bought the places and are doing them up.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, were they places
Yep.
you started off as explorations and found out that they got activity, or did you go to them specifically because you knew they'd got activity, Sam?
No, I started off because some of them had haunted histories attached to them. Some of them had, the castle in Greencastle had a number of different ghost stories attached to them, and that particular castle, a couple of people that I was on the course with went up there one night, and they came down crying, said they saw a shadow figure walking towards them, and these were grown men. So, I went up there as a kind of an explorer originally before I done the paranormal investigations and that. But the thing is, last year was my kind of first year, so I only have a handful of paranormal investigations actually done, to be honest with you,
Yeah. I've just had a question for you, Sam, off Alana in the chat. She says, Brett, ask Sam if she's been to Boom Hall. Does that ring a bell? Boom Hall? BOOM?
Boom Hall is actually a half a mile that way. It's I live on the road towards Boom Hall. It has a very, very interesting story. I've heard of one the Boom Hall house itself ties in with another explore that I done, which was a abandoned 3-story school. And it turned out afterwards that I found out that actually a teacher from that school used to live in Boom Hall.
Right.
But it's the last time I went to do an investigation was the Halloween before last. Unfortunately, Boom Hall is under a bridge where somebody takes their life every couple of months, and I kind of stay out of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do it. The thing is, Boom Hall house itself, you can't get into it anyway. The grounds is haunted and stuff like that.
Right.
But if I do go down, I'm going to stay out of a lot of the recent history, because what's happening along the bridge there is it's heartbreaking,
So
it's a place I just don't want to go.
Yeah. So what sort of things are haunting the gardens? Is it recent? Are they recent spirits and stuff, or are they further back in history? Do you know?
Oh, it's further back in history. The house was taken over by the military for a time, right? And one night when they were on the way home from their post, a military lady was on the way back to the house when she saw a figure of a lady standing by the big oak tree. And she was looking out over the bay, and what they say that lady stands at the tree waiting for her husband to come back, who actually died on the he died of gangrene or something like that on a boat.
Right. Alana's just put, she was reading about it the other day. The bridge that you're on about, Sam, apparently has really horrible energy connected to it.
I don't like that place. I don't like it at all. I walked across it once. I just don't like it.
Yeah, apparently that bridge has got a reputation for having really horrible energy surrounding it.
Well, on the other side of it, there's a hotel, and it's a pretty new hotel, and apparently there has been activity in that hotel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that whole area, there's a walkway down there and everything, but it's somewhere I just don't want to go down there because as much as I would like to get evidence, you know, we're sort of we're teetering on a moral ground here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's got very, very bad memories for a lot of people. You know.
Mm-hmm. It's all right. Cat's pineapple is probably my favourite fruit. I absolutely love pineapple. Yeah, but apparently Alana's saying that bridge and that place, that Boomall, Sam, is famous for the negativity. So it might be one to do at a future date if you can actually stomach getting it done.
Yeah, you know, but it's a very, very difficult call to make.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
It may if it can be done respectfully, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'll just see.
Yeah.
We'll just see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Normally, when I do an investigation, I don't take the history into account anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I go out down there and I try to get contact. I go to a place, I try to get contact. Cumber House is a story. I told it before on an Explorer. I don't take that into an investigation because the story is so off the wall. Yeah. I don't actually believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, calling out for Mr. Brown or Mr. Smith or whatever who used to own the house, I don't do things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just call for the energies around, whatever's around.
See, when me and Jace go, I always make the point of at least 2 or 3 days beforehand of doing a real good study of the place, you know, over a couple of days of the area I'm going to. But I'm like you, Sam, I deliberately won't call out for things I know about. I will see if they come through of their own accord. But I won't, you know, like when we went to Roach Abbey, I knew that the monks didn't wear black. They wore white there apparently. One of the few places where they did, and we actually got that through on the spirit box without me even asking.
Right.
You know, and then I said, you know, can you confirm you wore white? And we got the yes sort of thing. You know, but I didn't go. Is there any white monks here? You know, I'll say, you know, that I'll let them bring the stuff out. Same with Wombwell Woods. I know of a very, very famous murder in there. You know, quite a good. Well, it's a grisly murder suicide story. I never actually mentioned it while we were in the woods because I think if you start mentioning stuff, there is the tendency to get things through on the spirit box that you've been talking about, and it's not necessarily the real deal when you're getting it. Because I do believe there are things out there that will actually tell you what you want to hear just to maintain communication with you. It's something I've seen a lot on, I've had happen a lot on Ouija boards, you know, throughout the years when you've been communicating with something, and if you feed them enough information, they will then start, you know, portraying what you want to hear rather than what they really should be telling you, sort of things. Well, it's quite an interesting phenomenon when it actually kicks off. But I do think it happens on the spirit box as well a lot, where you know, if you mention something or you're constantly going on about a certain thing, there is a very high chance that something connected to it will actually be repeated back on a spirit box. I don't know if you found that, Sam.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, but you know, a lot of the time, the way I do an investigation is I don't do the research before I go, and do the research after I come back.
Yeah. See, so, I like to do the research, Sam, because sometimes there are very obscure references made, and unless you know the history beforehand, you won't understand what they mean. But you know, I deliberately make sure I never ever lead the conversation down a pathway where I know the history about. I will ask questions or, or give responses to things coming through the spirit box, but I will never deliberately try and get somebody to say something just because I know it's relevant to the area. But I do think it's useful to know it beforehand, because there's been a couple of times when I've done it in the past where things have been said and they may sound totally obscure or be, disregarded by anybody who wouldn't know the area, the history of the place. So that's why, for me, and it is just a personal thing, I do like to know the history of the place beforehand, before I go, just in case you get one of those references come through the spirit box, because then on the spot you can explain what the reference through the spirit box was actually meant to be.
That's true, yeah. That's true, yeah.
So right, Claire's talking to New about orbs from a bedroom.
I'm going to take up my seat a bit.
Have you gone down again, Sam?
Oh, I've gone down about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, Alana's put knowledge helps too prior for trigger objects, music, and sometimes phrases from the time. Yeah, I agree, Alana. I do think personally it's better to go forearmed, because, like they say, forewarned is forearmed. So that is why, for me, I like to keep the I like to have the history beforehand, but not actually discuss the history during a spirit box session. If it comes out during a spirit box session, all well and good, but I will definitely not leave the conversation to force it out, sort of thing. Because, like I was just saying to Sam, I do believe that they can pick up on, and I'm not saying they're dead people. I don't know what they are. You know what? I personally believe I communicate with a number of different things on the spirit box, be they elemental, dead people, and maybe interdimensional things. I don't think everything that comes through the spirit box is a dead person. I don't think everything that comes through the spirit box is an elemental, and I don't think everything that comes through the box is just something from another dimension, or different reality. I believe we get a mixture of all three. But that's, for me, that is just a personal, that's personal belief.
With communication, it's kind of important not to let our imagination run away from us, because we as human beings like to have a picture in our head what we're communicating with, and it doesn't often. It possibly is nothing what we picture in our heads. When we turn on a spirit box at home, does that mean the spirits walk into our house and start chatting to us? They may be those orb energies transmitting like a radio station to that source.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we don't know. We never. So many people are doing ITC, and we never get them type of answers.
Once, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, like, so many people ask those questions, and you get answers to certain questions, but the fundamental questions, nobody has got answers to those.
No, and see, the thing I was going to say as well is I never like pray to protect myself, and things like that, because I know a lot of people, this again, it's all down to everybody has got their own personal approach to doing a paranormal investigation. For me, one, there's a number of reasons why I don't pray. One, because I'm not a Christian. I'm never have been, never will be. Two, if you look into the Bible frowns upon talking to the dead and contacting things from other realms anyway. And, three, for me, I just think it would be an hypocritical thing to do. I know a lot of people do, and if they feel comfortable with it, all well and good. But for me, I don't believe praying gives me any kind of protection whatsoever anyway. Same with, if trying to banish things in the name of God. Again, I don't do any of that kind of thing, because my personal beliefs aren't along the Christian thing. I don't see the point of doing it. Now, for somebody who's religious, I suppose for them it may work, because I think, I do believe a lot of things that actually work in in paranormal investigation are down to the power of belief. And I do think the power of belief has quite a great power when it comes to the paranormal, as it does in paganism, which is what I tend to lean to anyway. But as a pagan, I wouldn't sit there going, in the name of Christ, demon begone type of thing, because for me it just simply wouldn't be right, sort of thing. Same with protection spells. I don't do them either before or after. The only thing I do is I make it clear to whoever I've been communicating that they are not welcome to follow me home or attach to me or whatever. But the thing you do have to bear in mind is, just because you told them they're not welcome to do it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to listen and obey you anyway. They could still quite happily follow you home and cause you all sorts of problems. Up to this point, I've got to be honest, I've never actually had one follow me back and cause me any problems. I've had things happening in the old house, and a few things have happened here in the new house, but not to the extent of the old place. Like I say, I do wonder if what happened a few weeks ago was as a result of what happened to me a couple of weeks ago, and it was some kind of warning, because since I've been out of hospital, the house again has gone back to its nice, neutral, peaceful feelings in the house, and I've had no real signs or anything going on, and I've had none of the banging or the sounds of things falling, or I've had no plates appearing out of midair. So I do wonder if that was a lead up to all that sort of thing, that something was maybe trying to warn them.
Yeah.
Alana's put their spirits never blooming listen. Well, this is the thing, Alana. You can say to the spirits or whatever, or whatever it is you're communicating with at the time, till you're blue in the face. You are not welcome to come home with me. Do not attach to my equipment. You can say it. It doesn't necessarily mean they are going to abide by it. Yeah. No coffee yet, Stephen. Hi, Mike. Welcome to the chat. So, what is your opinion, Sam, on things like praying and prayer during paranormal investigations and stuff?
Well, generally, myself and Rachel, we even forget to pray. We just do our thing,
Mm-hmm.
If we've had a bad night, maybe I would, sort of maybe say a prayer before I go to bed at night. The group that I work with, we all have, we're all asked to, stand in a circle and say the protection prayer before we start. It's their thing, but generally myself and Rachel, we just do our thing, it's people's beliefs,
Yeah.
It's a belief system. I'm not going to stamp on it. If that helps them be comfortable and helps to protect them, do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do your thing. Do your thing. Do what you feel.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I've got no problem with people praying or doing whatever they want to. It's just for me personally, because I'm not Christian. I don't do it. I don't do it myself.
Yeah.
And if people want to pray over me, they're quite welcome. But in all, I do say to them, I don't believe in your God, so I can't. I don't think He's going to protect me anyway. I'm quite honest about it. I wish I could that she's doing in sticker. I daren't do what she's doing in that sticker at the moment, because I'd end up having another heart attack, Claire. In regards to Jason's laces, he got up again the other day and we had another episode of them being tied together. So Jace is still well and truly under the attention of something. Andy seems to think it's of an elemental nature, possibly fairy, because fairies and knots are very, very closely related. And I too personally think it is probably something along an elemental nature that is trying to get his attention, because they're doing nothing vindictive to him, but they are making sure that he knows they're around. And definitely Faye, Alana. Over the last couple of weeks, you've probably missed a lot of it, Alana, but Jace's shoes have been tied. When we've got up on a morning, his shoelaces have been tied in some very, very intricate types of knot.
It's a fisherman's knot.
Well, the one wasn't it, Sam? You identified the one knot. The one that happened, the one day was literally looked like his laces had been turned into the links of the chain. It was absolutely amazing how it had been done, and it ran up the entire length of the shoelaces. Can you hear that?
That's very loud.
Yeah, that's some of the. Oh, shut up! This is what we have to put up with them going past the doors. They can't go past the house quietly. They've got to bawl and shout at each other. This is what we have to put up with all night long, Sam.
Oh, your house is on a street.
Yeah, I've got no front garden as such. My front living room, my front window is literally right onto the pavement, and I've got the window open at the moment because it's quite warm. This is why I want to move the computer in the studio up into the back bedroom, so that I know I've got the boiler in there, but it only comes on if you use the hot water, and if I'm up there on my own, nobody's going to be using the hot water at the time to trigger the boiler off.
Yeah. Well, here I'm 3 stories up, overlooking the city.
Mm-hmm. You see, you're ideal, Sam. You're up high. Dorothy says, "Are they being mischievous or something else?" I don't think they're being mischievous, Dorothy. I genuinely believe that there is something out there that is trying to bond with Jason on an almost on like a familiar type level. I think there's something out there that wants to connect with him to form a partnership type of thing, because it's very insistent what's going on. It's extremely regular, and the nature of what it's doing also makes me think that it is actually trying to form a bond with Jason. It wants a partnership. How Jason will react to that, I do not know. But it's just a matter of waiting and seeing. There's nothing vindictive in it, because there's nothing evil being done. But he has been seeing it at home as well. He's actually seen lights, drop down through the floor and move around the house and stuff. He's had them fly out the curtain at him, and he's had them, when he got to the top of the hall, he's had one fly out the wall and then sink back that land and sink through the carpet and stuff. So whatever, this is what makes me think it's Fae, most definitely elemental, more so than spiritual. Thought that was a spirit box for a moment. Now, Fran, unfortunately, that's one set of the very noisy neighbours around here that we have to put up with. But I'm looking. It'll be interesting to see how Jason his laces develop, and the lights he's been seeing. But the last time he saw it, it actually flew out the curtain at him, and he said it was like a moth that was glowing, that was illuminated. It was almost that kind of thing. So he said it was like a glowing butterfly.
Yeah.
Do I separate spirits and elementals, Brett? I do. Elementals are purely of the elements. They are either earth, fire, water, or air. I suppose you could class them as nature's spirits, but I don't class them as actually spiritual beings. They are purely elemental. Things like the dryads and the fae are more spirits to me. They are more of a spiritual level, whereas pure elementals, I think, are they are raw. They are raw elemental power. I don't think they are spiritual stuff. As per se, I think they are more raw power type things. Gnomes are interesting because they've got a foot on each camp. They are both elemental and fae, but they are the earth elemental. But now I do separate spirit from elemental. And again, you've then got the other type of spirit, which is dead people, and you know, I separate them from elemental as well. Even though I believe everything is energy, they are a different type of energy. Sam?
Yeah, well, with me, when I do a spirit box session, I've gone towards more from possibly speaking to dead people to I haven't a clue who I'm talking to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not. They say there's spirits and ghosts, but you know what comes out of the spirit box is often lies.
Yeah.
You know, I do know that they can see because you know if you pick up something with a color on it, they'll tell you a color. Very often they get it wrong. For funny enough, you know. That's what I find. But you know, are they the spirits of you know, are the energy of deceased people? I just don't know. They say they're spirits and ghosts, but you know, our interpretations of spirit and ghost might be a completely different thing to the actual fact.
Why do you think they lie, Sam? What do you think the motivation is for lying?
I don't know because you know, there's a possibility that we ask questions that we're not supposed to get answers to. So you know, they would possibly answer us to lead us down the wrong path, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know?
Yeah. So do you believe that all? Do you believe it's the dearly departed that are the liars, or do you believe it's a mixed bag that they all do it? Oh, one of these dogs has dropped the glass.
Oh,
Jesus Christ! Do you believe? Go on, Sam.
I don't know, but you know, we done a paranormal investigation of a small half-acre graveyard, which I was told by an old lady that there was 250 mental health patients buried in.
Right.
And I took out the spirit box there one night, and I got directions to a grave, which is unmarked. A lady came, you know, and started speaking. I started asking questions. Are you dead? She says, yes. Were you buried here? She said, yes. Could you tell me where you were buried? She went left. I walked left. She said straight. Walked straight. I went right. And then she didn't talk at all. And I says, is this where you're buried? She says, yes. But there could be, you know, completely putting us down the wrong path altogether, you know.
Did she give you a name or anything to check?
Can't remember now. But, you know, I was very excited that night. You know, I had the headphones on and everything, so I was able to hear it directly, and I was using the Texan PL 660, and yeah, it was pretty good. But in the same location, we were called all sorts of things. There was all sorts of profanities thrown at us, and we didn't actually hear what we was saying. And me and Rachel were being very, very nice. It wasn't until I got home and listened back to the Spirit Box session that whatever was communicating through the radio was calling us bastards and everything. And me and Rachel were all as nice as pie. Oh, could you tell us your name? Could you tell us, like, you know, all in a nice little voice, and
yeah,
they were telling us to F off and everything, and we didn't hear it. It wasn't until I looked back on the footage when I got home, and I was sitting there and I was pissing myself laughing, and I was going, and then, you know, I rang Rachel the next morning. I said, you need to listen to this, you know.
See, I've had it a couple of times where I've been sworn at on a spirit box, But I always say to people, and it's amazing how many people think this. A lot of people seem to think that once somebody dies, they suddenly turn into Mother Teresa who can do no wrong. Now, as far as I'm concerned, and in my experience with talking to whatever who have claimed to have been dead people, they have come across to be very much as they were in life. So I always say to people, and it's one of my favourite sayings: just because someone is dead doesn't mean they turn into Mother Teresa. If they were a bad person in life, they are probably going to be a bad person in death. If they were a swearer in life, they're probably going to be a swearer in death. If they got a bit of a nasty or sarcastic streak when they were alive, expect it through the spirit box. I don't believe that a person's personality changes in any way, shape, or form when they pass on. And I know a lot of people who believe you get to heaven and become angels are probably going to be appalled at that idea. But for me personally, I think you retain whatever personality you had when you passed on. And this is why I think, when you get the swearing and stuff through the spirit box, because it doesn't happen very often on the radio, this is why it's such good evidence. And it doesn't necessarily mean the person is a bad person or an evil person or a demon you're talking to. It's just somebody who, when I snuff it, I'm going to come through the spirit box and I'm going to swear a lot because I'm one of these people who swears a lot in real life. So if I die before you, Sam, and I come through the spirit box, expect a load of swear words because that's just the way I am. But I do think it's important for people to realise that, in my experience at least, people who have passed over and I've communicated with have not turned into Mother Teresa just because they've passed on. They have tended to be exactly the same as what they were before they left, before they shuffled off their mortal coil.
Yeah. There's people out there and they're always trying to debunk the spirit box and that. You're not going to do it. There's no way. There's no way you're going to do it because some of that stuff that comes up on the spirit box is just sometimes it's just really, really amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in it's a famous workhouse in Limavady Workhouse. Ghost Hunters International has been there. I was supposed to be this year there this year, but I did actually get around the grounds and that, and it came up. I wasn't very good at this at the time, and I had my PL 660 out, and I turned it on, and the next thing I was murdered. And I was thinking, where on the radio would you say I was murdered,
Yeah.
Next thing, anyway, I kept blabbering away to the spirit box. And next thing it started saying, hens. And I said, hens, right? And then I look over and I says, oh, there's hens over in this little coop in the park. And next thing it says hens again. And I go, it's in flipping hens, And, I was sort of new to the scanning spirit box and stuff like that. And I went over to the hens and that, and I said, it says hens. And I said, hens.
You weren't talking to the chickens, were you, Sam?
No. But I mean, I was just blown away.
Yeah.
And I hadn't started doing investigations yet. And Philip says, why didn't you bring your REM pod and sit it out in the little park there and just sit down and relax? And when I read that comment, that just says, right, after I read that comment, I turned off the computer, put some things in a bag, went down to the abandoned hospital, and I started doing more and more stuff with more and more pieces of equipment.
Well, I'm going out every. The hospital told me to go out 2 or 3 times a day now, so just go on walks because I've got to build up endurance for my heart sort of thing. So I tend to go on the one on the morning on my own without Jason. So what I might do tomorrow is take the spirit box with me, go and sit down by the canal and actually record a spirit box session while I'm down by the canal onto the Tascam, and then I'll do a video on it and see what we pick up. It's quite interesting because according to Jason, he knows of at least 5 deaths that have occurred down that canal. I did take it down the other week when I was talking to you, just after I'd had the heart attack. Or was it just before? It was just before, wasn't it? Just before I had it. And I'd had references to people drowning in the water down there. So it'll be interesting I ghost stories. It'll be interesting. What I'll do, I'll go down tomorrow and I'll take the Tascam, connect it up with the Lavalier mic and the PSB7, and I'll just have a little chat down there and see what I get through. Because believe it or not, that canal is the one and only place where I've ever got the words demon, devil, and hell through. Normally, I don't get them through on my spirit box at all because I don't believe in, as you know, I don't believe in angels and demons. When I went down there the other week, I actually got devil, demon, hell, Satan, and something else through all in the space of 5 minutes. So it was quite an interesting session, that one. And then obviously the day after was when I had the what's it.
Strange how ghost stories came like an apparition after I'd just been talking about Philip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Philip. It was your comment on that particular video when I was at Limavady Workhouse. You know, sit down. You should have sat down on the bench, take out your REM pod and stuff like that. When I read that comment when I got home, I turned off the computer, and that's why you give me that push. You know, I had bought equipment, but I never started using it.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't that big into how to film all this, and I went out and I made an effort in that. And when you think about it, I still only have a handful of proper investigations under my belt. But Jesus, some of it was absolutely brilliant. And you know, now we have Rachel that comes along. You know,
we've got big plans for this summer because Jason has finally decided, you know, he wants to take a bit more of a part in the channel. So, you know, we like I said, we've got those cemetery ones planned. I wanted to go back to Uberstand, and I wanted to go back to Wombwell, and obviously Roach Abbey, which hopefully we still will be doing as long as the lockdown's over sometime soonish. But thoughts on infrared cameras, digicam. I have actually converted an action cam into it's a full spectrum because I've took the what's it off it. I quite like infrared cameras, I've got to be honest. But you don't need to be doing investigations in the dark anyway, in my opinion. A lot of people seem to think, you know, you've got to be in the woods late at night to get any kind of response. The only reason I like to do things later at night is basically because in places like woods, you've got less chance of encountering people at night, whereas in the day, you've got dog walkers and kids on the bikes and mountain bikers and walkers and all sorts coming through. That is basically the main reason I like to go at night. If there's somewhere quiet, like Roach Abbey, we did that during the day. So, you know, but as for infrared cameras, the self-alarm, I quite like them because they do eliminate a lot of false positives of things in the dark that your normal day cameras can be generating pareidolia on. Sam?
Yeah, I have something like 15 infrared cameras, all Sony, and all the old type Sony. You know, I did buy one of those cheap 1080p camcorders, and I just didn't like the zoom on it, and it was shaking an awful lot. Yeah. And I decided that I'm going to buy the older Sony night shots because they're actually still very, very good cameras. and the build quality is absolutely fantastic. And
yeah, well, this camera I'm using to do the streaming is a cheap camcorder, but it's got a webcam mode on it. So until I can get a proper webcam,
but the quality is pretty good on that.
The what I like about this, Sam, is I can actually set it into an infrared webcam as well. That's what I like about this one. So yeah, it's quite good.
Yeah, all most except the one cheap camera that I bought.
Mm-hmm.
And apart from this, actually, this is the best camera I've got. Of all the equipment I have, all the cameras I have, this thing, even though it doesn't have a zoom on that.
Is that your body cam?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. You
just clip it on there, and you can. I do my in-car videos with them, and the night vision in that it's greater than 1080p. It's 1276p or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But these things are flipping brilliant.
Yeah.
And every time I go out in the car and do my in-car rants, it's done on this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then when I'm doing one at night time and it's facing me, you can see the quality of the shot in it, you know.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have external night vision lights on it. It's just 3 little bulbs on it.
That is one of the things I'd like to get for when we do Wombwell. But like I say, I want to get my studio sorted first, and then I'll move on to to getting some more equipment. That money Claire's giving me tonight is going to go towards a chair. So thanks, Chair. Claire that'll go towards me having something to sit on at the desk. So thank you very much.
Claire's been very good. I mean, like she gave to my stream the last time, and it's like somebody come up on the street and giving you a tenner, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, thanks for the donation" and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I take it to heart, you know.
Yeah, I know that.
You know, people are giving you money, and it's a gift, you know, and I think that's special, you know.
Yeah. If people are giving me money, it goes back into my channel. I won't accept the money and then spend it on myself. Just go and having a good time out or something like that. It would always go back into my channel because I think they've given me the money because of something I'm doing on my channel, so it goes back into the channel. That is why I bought the desk with the money I'd got up to this point, because I needed to set up a decent streaming area. Because at the moment I'm just sitting on the sofa with the TV and stuff in front of me, and it's taking over the living room at the moment, so I need it all organised, sort of thing. So that's why I've got the desk and stuff, and then like I say, after that it'll start going on camera equipment and stuff like that.
Yeah, having a studio is it's a nice little workspace, you know.
Yeah, well, it ain't just for doing the lives. Sam, I can also do me, videos on it as well, because all me computer software's on this computer here, so it'll be a live stream studio as well as a video studio.
Editing, yeah.
Yeah, I'll do everything on it, the editing and everything. Nick, I've already told Jason if he wants to do anything, I will do all the editing for him. He knows this. So that don't let him sit there convincing you that he's poor lost little lamb, because he's already had the offer to have all the stuff edited. So if he wants to do anything, he knows full well he can do it. He's already had the offer for me to do all the editing for him. So don't let him sit there doing poor lost kitten act on you. You got to watch him, Sam.
Yeah.
What do you use for videos, Brett, Sam? I actually use. I do a yearly subscription of Cyberlink Power Director. It costs me £60 a year, which I think is a bargain for a year's worth of editing software. It's £5 a month. I really, can't knock that. But for the software you get for it, and you get every month you get extra transitions and new stuff added to it every single month. Background music that's YouTube friendly and everything. What do you use, Sam?
Something it's called NC something, NCH or NCM or something like that.
So you can't even remember the name of your editing software?
No.
That's bad. Yeah, but you know, the Cyberlink Power Director is really, really good. You can do green screen and everything on it. I have done. I use green screen a lot on my editor.
It's called VideoPad Video Editor.
There you go.
And then I have OpenShot Video Editor, which is a free one.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case, there's that. I have them on some of my other computers. So say if anything happens to this one, I can still edit on another computer or whatever. But OpenShot is very, very basic,
Yeah.
But that's a VideoPad Video Editor. I did have to pay for it. I can't remember how much I paid, but.
Mm-hmm. Well, I actually bought that Power Director when it was on a special offer, and because I bought it at a special offer, they have to give it me at that same price every year now.
Yeah.
And I think £60 for a professional, and it's one of the top 3 editing softwares that you can get.
Yeah.
So for £60 a year, you can't knock it. I don't go with it. I didn't go with Adobe because I think Adobe's a little bit overpriced. I personally cannot justify paying £20 a month for a piece of editing software. That's pretty much that's almost what I pay for my mobile phone every month.
Yeah.
So I couldn't. It's the same reason why I wouldn't pay for this StreamYards at £25 a month. Because it's way overpriced for what it is. Way overpriced.
Yeah, I mean, like I used to edit, and lately I've just got lazy. Lately I've got lazy, so what I need to do is to get a number of intros so people aren't bored with the same intro all the time. You have your signature intros and outros and stuff, to make up a couple of different ones and change them around.
Mm-hmm.
But I always make an intro to Paranormal Investigation, and I use the footage of the Paranormal Investigation to make the intro.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah. I actually really enjoy it. It's all right, Jace is doing his little lost kitten routine in chat on what I'm just keeping an eye on it, where he's making out his little victim. I actually enjoy the editing, Sam. I really enjoy video editing. I don't enjoy going through all the audio footage. I've got to be honest. The last time we went out when we did the Fay Garden, and I had to go through an hour and a half of EVP stuff on the Tascam. I've got to be honest. I did not enjoy doing that, but you do it anyway because you may have that little gem on there, which we did. We actually caught the panpipes playing a couple of times and stuff, but. Jace is drumming up. He's drumming up what's it? Jace, I believe you. Brett is mean to me, always teasing. Can't go wrong with Mavave. One-off lifetime payment. Yeah, it's whatever you're comfortable with, Andy. Like I say, mine's once a year for £60, and I think for me, £60 well spent with what I get for it because every month. Well, sometimes it's more. It's twice a month. If there's a special holiday in a month, Sam, you get like a normal monthly set of new stuff, and then you'll get like an holiday season. So if it's like Halloween, you get a complete Halloween pack of new Halloween animations and transitions and stuff. Plus, you can connect into the Cyberlink, what they call the director's place, where people design their own, and you can download theirs as well. So it's quite good software.
Do you know you were saying there about going through all the audio and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
We have to go through still cameras, not locked off cameras and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The last time we were in Cumber House, I was going through one of the static cams in one of the rooms, and I found Eddie, one of the team members, sneaking into the room to nick some sausage rolls before supper time.
Did you grass him up?
Oh, I did, yeah. He was sneaking in, and you see, Peninsula Paranormal, they're very good. We a location might be a certain price or whatever, and we give them a certain amount of money too for supper, and they prepare the supper, sausage rolls and soup and sandwiches and stuff, and it's all set up on a table and everything. And halfway through the investigation, we stop and have tea and have a chat and stuff, and then off to the next part of the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just seeing Eddie sneaking in sneaking into the room where the food was all set up, and coming in and sneaking away a few sausage rolls before supper time.
Mm-hmm. That is something I would like to do this year, Sam. When all this crap is over and done with, I'd like to get a lot of the local people who all know each other and get on together for a big investigation somewhere. I would like, because we've all been kept apart for so long with all this that's going on. It'd be nice to bring everybody together who's local around here, sort of thing.
Yeah.
By invitation only, VIP invitation.
Yeah. Do you know if somebody comes along who wants to learn, locally and that,
Mm-hmm.
And if we can work with them, they're welcome. It's that's the way it is.
I've always said, if people who listen to my, my channel, if they know we're going on an investigation and they're prepared to travel there, they're more than welcome to come and join us. I ain't one of these people who, who does it for myself. I'm quite happy to take anybody with me.
Yeah.
And if that means they've got to come up from, all the way down south in Plymouth, if they're prepared to travel all the way up to Rotherham or wherever we're going, they're more than welcome to come and join us on any of the investigations we do, any of them.
Yeah, just a couple of things that I do say to people. There's one person who wanted to work with me, and it turned out, they kept saying on their channel, I'm going to work with Life After Life TV Productions, give her a shout out because she's got so many subscribers and that. And I was saying, right, there's where the intentions are,
Mm-hmm.
But I had spoken to this person before, and I says, number one, I don't do scary videos.
Mm-hmm.
And two, don't expect paranormal activity.
Yeah.
We could, a lot of the time we go out, we try to get something, we don't get it, we had a night out.
Yeah. See, the thing is, Sam, people would probably find a night out with me and Jace quite entertaining, solely on the fact of Jason being frightened of cobwebs and things like that. Because even if we didn't see, anything of a paranormal nature, you can guarantee at some point during that night, Jace is going to freak out over something. So people would find that entertaining in its own right, because Jace can be really, really entertaining when he wants to be. Unintentionally, but he can be really, really funny sometimes. And because he's come from he's only started getting interested in it, since we've been together, sort of thing. He comes from it from a nice, fresh perspective. He's not frightened of cobwebs. Yes, you are. Freak out that there's a spider in every single one of them. So he comes from the perspective of, he comes up with some really good ideas sometimes, Sam, that I wouldn't think of because I've been doing it for so long. It never even occurs to me to try it that way. And he does come out with some good stuff, but sometimes he does come out with some stuff, and I think Jace, that is so far off the scale, it'd never work. Sort of things that, but he's really good to bounce ideas off Jace's. But it was like when we did Wombwell Woods and we went to Convicts Tunnel, when I threw the pebble up there after I told him about the poltergeist. Oh, cheers for that, Andy. Thank you. Shit, I forgot about that. Thank you very much, Andy. I forgot the light thing was on. I threw. There's a rumour that there's a poltergeist on top of Convicts Tunnel, Sam, that throws pebbles. So I waited for him to go up there, and then I slung a pebble up there, and he came down that bridge faster than I've ever seen him move in his life. That was funny, but the funniest thing was the bats, and there was bats flying around, which he freaked out about, and then a buzzard decided to fly through. Well, he nearly ran off the top of the bridge, so we had to come down off the bridge in the end because he just couldn't cope with the wildlife flitting around. But that, it's things like that make a night, they make a night memorable. If you don't get any, overly amazing action, it is stuff like that people would find enjoyable.
Is that the bridge where there's no walls actually on the top of the bridge?
Yeah, it's just a tunnel. Where it used to have a rail track running across the top of it, but it's literally just a bridge in the middle of nowhere. But there was a suicide occurred there, and it is also rumoured that there is actually a ghost train passes through the bridge, passes through the tunnel. Never witnessed it, but apparently it does supposedly appear at certain times.
I've seen it on an investigation.
Yeah. But,
if I can call it an investigation.
We got pestered by bats and a buzzard that night, and Jake couldn't cope with it. It was absolutely hilarious. It really was. Love Drop Dead Fred. Do you know that is one film I've never seen, Drop Dead Fred? Is that the one where she's got an invisible friend in the Jack in the Box? Isn't it? Sure, that's Drop Dead Fred. Vampire bats. They were not vampire bats, Jason. They were your run-of-the-mill bloody normal bats.
Yeah, the bats we have around here are like butterflies. They're Donegal bats. They're little tiny little things. They're not much bigger than butterflies.
This was only a tiny little thing, Sam, but he totally lost it when the buzzard flew through. Because, buzzards are quite big, and it literally came through at about 8 feet high off the ground, and that was it. That was the last straw for him. I honestly thought he was going to jump off the top of the bridge.
They're like a mouse with wings.
Mm-hmm. They are. You'll find out one day, Joe. Dracula bat. But yeah, Jace, if it ain't a cat or a dog, Jace is normally frightened of it, and it can prove to be entertaining at times. Spiders are the best, Sam. I'd love to take him in an old house on an urban exploration, because the first gigantic birds and vampire bats, they were not gigantic birds and vampire bats. You want to see the fruit bats I saw in the Maldives, Jace? Well over 3 foot wingspan and ugly too. Just cooking dinner, so I have you guys running in the background. Have you ever freaked out on a ghost hunt or an investigation, Sam?
Yeah.
Have you ever lost it?
Yeah, I did in the abandoned hospital down the road here. When I got strange noises at the end of the hall. I did. It was nearly a brown moment that time. I was there on my own too, you see, and I was coming out of the oh my gosh stage and trying to find myself.
Yeah.
But then again, I kind of still didn't jump fully into conclusion. I was saying I'm hoping that is an animal, but you could see my face on camera. I looked white as a sheet,
Yeah. I don't think I've ever totally. The only time I've ever come close to losing it was about 15 years ago, and we were doing what was considered a ghost hunt at a place called Imley Hall back in the Midlands, and we were down in the cellar, and I actually turned this corner unbeknownst that there was this old mirror on the wall. Literally this little alcove, and as I turned to look in the alcove, all I saw, and this mirror was like dirty, all I saw was this shadowy figure thing turn and look at me, not realising it was my own reflection in the mirror.
Ooh.
That was the one and only time I've ever come really close to up and running. I've got to be honest, and when they say everything was loose, I nearly physically crap myself at the time.
Yeah,
honestly.
Another time was I seen a building I always wanted to get into, and it was always boarded up. But I seen one of the boards were off the windows, The problem was there was teenagers on the roof.
Right.
And I don't know why to this day that I says I need to go in there. I need to see what's in there. And I snuck in there with a bright yellow t-shirt. I don't know how I wasn't seen, but I done an explore inside that building, and you could hear the teenagers running up and down the flipping roof.
Mm-hmm.
And I was bricking it because I was afraid of them actually coming in and confronting me.
I always say this to people, Sam. It's not the dead and the unknown you've got to be frightened of, it's the living.
Mm.
If anybody's going to cause you any problems, it's going to be very much alive people more so than dead ones. I always say that to people. Always be aware of who's around you before you go anywhere. And keep your eyes open when you are doing an investigation, because there are idiots out there who will do it just for a joke to scare you up, but there are people out there who will do it to try and nick your stuff and do all sorts of things. So you do have to be careful when you're out there. But it's more for me. I always say be more fearful of the living than the dead.
I remember one time I had to have a look inside this burnt out shop.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in the middle of the city, right? Yeah. So I got in the back way anyway. I went in and that, and while I was in there, a group of young fellas came in and walked past me. He says, "How you doing? How are things?" And I had the camera in my hand and everything. And they went in on ahead of me, and next thing they started smashing the place up. And me with a camera in my hand. And I actually had to stop filming.
Yeah.
And leave. And, the business owner next door, he was going, "What's going on?"
Mm-hmm.
I says, "There's young fellas in there smashing the place up. All I wanted to do was film a band and explore."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he says, "How long a wee second? Stay here." And that, and he went in, "Hey, I'll come out here," and I says, "You can go back in now." But, I was up on another floor, and next thing, they were just smashing glass and everything. And I'm going, I can't stay here. This is a very dodgy situation, like.
Right. They're all talking about mirrors in chat, Sam. What is your opinion on mirrors? Because I know a lot of people have got a really bad phobia regarding mirrors, and I know there's certain religions. I think Judaism's one of them, where when somebody dies in the house, they cover all the mirrors up to stop the spirit actually getting trapped. Now, I know there is a very old English belief system that you could actually trap either a spirit or a witch between two mirrors facing one another. They, in effect, become a spirit trap. A lot of people also believe they're portals. What's your opinion on mirrors?
I have mirrors facing each other right behind me, and I have mirrors all over the place.
Right.
What's his name? John Zappas. He has a good theory on mirrors, where he believes that possibly the spirit gets trapped between the glass and the filament behind the glass.
Right. Yeah.
But the very hard to scientifically prove something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The scariest thing about mirrors is actually looking in it and seeing myself in it, and how bad I have let myself go in the last number of years.
I know the feeling. I can't wait to get this weight off, get back to how I was, and more than anything else at the moment, I want an haircut.
Yeah,
I really need an haircut badly.
Yeah, I was told by the doctors that I needed to flatten the curve.
Mm-hmm.
I
think I've lost about 3 kilos, just under 3 kilos this week. So I'm just going to keep sticking with it and getting it off, sort of thing. Luckily, my BMI is down into the 26 mark now, so I've only got to get it down into the 25, and I'm back into the safety zone then. But it's going to take a while. That's why I'm doing all this walking and being a good boy with my eating and stuff. So
yeah. But I have loads of mirrors, and
I personally have never had a problem with mirrors. I do believe they can be portals, but I believe that from a pagan point of view more so than an actual ghost type of thing. Because for me, a mirror is a meeting place, like doorways and edges. Where like the edges of rivers and stuff like that. They are in between places. They are in
yeah,
between the real world and the reflection of the real world. So for
yeah,
me, that is why I believe that they can act as a portal into this realm for
yeah,
whatever it is that uses them.
yeah. Well,
I don't believe mirrors are evil. I
yeah.
really don't, and I don't believe that a human spirit can get trapped in one.
Yeah. I mean, like if you go to a wake house in an Irish wake house, you will still see blankets covering the mirrors where somebody else has died. In the house, they will cover the mirrors still. It's
Mhm.
it's a it's a it's one of those. It's one of those sort of beliefs or sort of precautions that they do take. I have seen mirrors being covered in houses where people have died, and a wake is happening,
Mhm.
and very often the front of the washing machine is covered because that's where the putching is held.
Yeah, I'm just reading the chat. Nikki says, it was bad when I made a Ouija board with a mirror. I saw black shadows flying around my room. My daughter was 5 years old. She saw them too. I regularly made Ouija boards out of mirrors, Nikki. I've luckily never had any problem with one. But I do believe where Ouija boards are concerned, a lot of it is down to your actual approach to them as well when you use them. James says, years ago, people used to hang up witch balls which were like huge mirrored bauble in the hope that it would reflect any bad magic away from the house. That is where horseshoes come in as well, because they were believed to keep the fae and the elemental side of things in check as well. Iron is supposedly a very big deterrent to the majority of the fae, and it is also a good reflector of bad mojo, so to speak.
That might be something to do with the Japanese mirror balls.
Hmm. Could be.
There might could be. I have some myself
Yeah.
actually, and I actually
Alana says she won't have one in the bedroom no more. She had one in the old house and ended up covering it. Cover the mirrors, stop the clocks, open a window. And when I die, I had 2 pennies on my eyes to pay Sharon. Yeah. You do, I do, Brett. You do what, Claire? Hi, Gay, I hope you're okay. Andy Kay says, people usually cover mirrors when I go in their house in the fear my reflection will just cause them to shatter. No, they don't, Andy. Yeah, there's a lot of superstition that surrounds mirrors. The reason about 7 years bad luck is basically, it goes back to when they used to be made with quicksilver. And they basically, if a servant of a house broke a mirror, it was pretty much the equivalent of 7 years' wages to replace it. That is where the 7 years bad luck for breaking a mirror comes from. It's nothing to do with bad mojo. It's basically to do with how expensive they were to make, and if a servant accidentally broke one, it was basically 7 years of their wages to replace it.
Do you know what scares me about mirrors? Is
Yeah,
looking at those paranormal ghost stories where they reconstruct a paranormal event, and somebody goes into the bathroom to wash their face, and they look in the mirror, and there's some scary thing behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Or they are going to the sink and washing the dishes and that, and they look, and there's a reflection of somebody behind them, and that. And sometimes those reconstructions are really scary.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had to stop watching those.
Have you ever actually seen anything in a mirror, Sam?
No. what happened?
I
No.
think I saw some at once, but it was that quick. You know, it weren't nothing. It weren't like Bloody Mary or anything like that. But I was actually having a shave the one day, and as I looked up, I saw some black literally shoot right the way past me. But you know, that was the only thing I've ever seen in a mirror, and it was that fast. It could have been anything. It was person size, but it went literally shot behind me really quickly. That's the one and only time I've ever seen anything. And I've tried the Bloody Mary thing of, staring in a mirror and going, so I've got a big mirror here right behind me now, a big 4-foot mirror.
Yeah.
And I've tried the Bloody Mary stuff and all that, and never done anything. I've got no phobias about mirrors at all.
Do you know what I seen one time? I was in an abandoned hospital, a sensory room, right? There was a whole landscape painted all over this room. I was blown away. I never seen one before. But on the wall was one of them portals. Do you know you turn on the lights and they go and do
an infinity mirror.
Yeah, I thought that was class.
They're actually quite easy to make, believe it or not, Sam.
Yeah.
They are really, really easy to make.
Yeah.
Andy, Brett, let me bring you some DMT, then we will play with the mirrors. Unfortunately, Andy, I am taking that many drugs now. I don't really need DMT because they do sometimes have a very strange effect on me. When I was watching Andy's video the other night, I saw all sorts in the background in that wood. At one point, Sam, I saw 3 separate green men at once, all moving around in the trees in the background of Andy's video. And I know it was the drugs off that, because I've literally just started on them. I'm getting a bit more used to them now, but they still space me out occasionally. Jay says, Mystique, that reminds me, I took my tablets for tonight. I've got to remind me, Sam, when we come off, that I need to take my night tablets.
Oh, yes, yeah.
What's your opinion on transfiguration? Transfiguration as in converting something into a artifact, or do you mean as in changing it into a different thing? Nikki, define transfiguration or transconfiguration, whichever one you mean. That's transmutation, and the lead to gold is transmutation, not transfiguration. Transfiguration, I believe, is converting something into a magical object. I believe that's what transfiguration is. But we'll wait for Nikki to define what she means, because some people do occasionally get the words wrong.
Transfiguration.
Oh, right, as in staring in a mirror.
Oh, yeah.
I've tried it, never got it to work for me. I ain't saying it don't work, but for me personally, I would say probably 99% of the time it's more a case of mind over matter than something actually than it's actually working. I think it's more. It's like a case. I think it's like a case of pareidolia the majority of the time. I think it's probably possible, but I think the majority of the time it would be a case of pareidolia. Sam?
Well, when you put a mirror in front of you and you're looking into it, you're looking into it for a specific purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And in this instance, you're doing it to see if you can see anything in the background. And I think eventually you are going to see it, but your eyes can play tricks with you too, Some people use a candle, right?
Yeah.
It's going to flicker your eyes eventually, and next thing you're going to see things. Your eyes are sort of trying to adjust with the light and stuff.
Yeah. This is why I think a lot of the time it does come down to, pareidolia.
But I wouldn't do it anyway, just in case I would see something in it, because that would scare the shit out of me.
But that's the whole point, Sam. You're supposed to be doing these things to try and advance your knowledge. Whether they scare the shit out of you or not should be irrelevant, really.
It's something about mirrors. I don't know what it is.
A lot of people have got real bad phobias regarding mirrors. I believe Claire does. Mystique Elemental Witch. I believe she don't like them either. I'm Paranormal Girl. There are a lot of people who've got real issues about mirrors, really bad issues regarding them.
It's probably a psychological thing, but I don't know. It's a thing about mirrors. Even though I have them in my house, I don't look in them.
Yeah.
To me, I put the mirrors in there because it reflects more light.
Yeah, that's what I use them for. But I've got no problem looking in mirrors. But
I do.
they're like clowns, in they? I've got this thing about clowns. I don't like looking at clowns. But
Rachel's hallway.
Yeah, there's people who've got real bad phobias concerning mirrors.
Witness me blowing myself up on camera. I just fill up my gas.
And Andy says he's packed up smoking for 3 months now and he's still getting the urge. When Sam just lit hers up, then I thought I fancy a cigarette, and he's gone again now. I've got to be honest. I've really surprised myself how easy I've packed up, because I tried a few months ago and lasted about a day, and that was it. But this time I found it really, really easy. Really easy. And I don't know whether that's because I was ill in hospital for the first 5-6 days, and I think that helps that. Because apparently the nicotine's fully out of the system within 2 days. I'm sorry, push it. But yeah, I'm still getting the urges, Andy, but not to the extent that you are. And yesterday, I don't think I even felt like one at all day long. But what's the date today? Yeah, 20, so it's 25, 26, 27, 29, 30. Tomorrow will be exactly 2 weeks since I've had a cigarette. So I'm really pleased with that.
Since the lockdown, I've been a complete and utter disaster.
Sam, I did Sam. My smoking doubled at the start of the lockdown. I've got to be honest, it did. I'd be a liar if I said it hadn't, because I was literally one after the other, chain smoking, literally. Well, I was. You saw me on these when I was literally lighting one up as soon as I put one out. Alana says it's easy if you actually want it. We're quitting at the moment, and Nick's going crazy, lol. And I think that's what it is, Alana. I think because I really wanted to pack in, because what had happened to me, it was a wake-up call, and I thought, that is one of the biggest problems for me is my smoking. It's got to stop, and because I've got that in my head, that's why it's helped me. I wouldn't wish on anybody to have an heart attack to stop them smoking, but for me, it's been this heart attack has been a very, very positive thing for me, because I've literally packed up smoking. I've started to lose weight, and I'm eating properly and regularly now, rather than just once a day. And I'm out exercising, and I'm actually enjoying it all. That is what's really good about it, Sam. I'm actually raring to get out there and go for a walk. I'm driving. Jace mad. Jace can't keep up with me. The hospital had told me to slow down, and I'm like, no, I feel fine. I actually feel better than I've felt in years.
Yeah.
So Andy Kay says we convince ourselves that smoking ain't hurting us. I know it's fried my lungs for me. It did for me, Andy. That's for me. My back is hurting and I need a massage. Don't we all, Claire? Don't we all? Yeah, what happened? UL gave you a nudge and my damn chest getting worse. I just turned around to Nick and said, I want to quit, lol. And that's all it takes, Alana. All it takes is your own personal trigger, and you get through it, sort of thing. It is hard to stop, James. It is hard to stop. Have you ever packed in, Sam?
Oh yeah, yeah. I had to go to bed for a couple of days because I was a complete and utter antichrist.
I was exactly the first time I packed up, and I'm going back. It was probably 20 years ago when I packed up, and I packed up for 4 years. But literally for the first 3 weeks, Sam, I was fit to kill somebody, and I literally was fit to kill somebody. I literally kept away from everybody for 3 weeks because I think I would have murdered somebody. All it would have took was one totally innocent comment, and I'd have ripped somebody's throat out. Literally, that's how bad I was. But this time, I've been great. Claire says I'm a massage. You'll have to come round here when it's all over. You give me and Jace one, Claire. I used to quit every time I went to bed unless I woke in the night. Had one or two. Do you smoke at night, Sam? If you wake up,
I went through phases of it.
I've done it where I've woke up in the night to come downstairs and had one.
Yeah.
And I think that's when you get to the point where you think I need to stop. That's when you know you're getting a serious smoker. Then when you're getting out of bed for one.
Yeah.
I mean, like, go on.
There's times I've woke up. And I think the reason why I woke up was because I got into a habit of having a smoke in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Went out here, had a smoke, went back to bed. But it was only sort of in phases,
Mm-hmm. It ain't been every time I've woke up in the night, but it did get to the point where if I woke up, sometimes I would come down and have a cigarette. Obviously, and people are really funny around me at the moment. They go, they won't smoke in front of me, and I'm like, have a cigarette, it don't bother me.
Yeah.
Other people smoking around me don't bother me at all. Obviously, I don't want them blowing it in my face, but people want to light a cigarette up when they're with me. Fine, I ain't one of these people who go, "Oh, let's smoke, get away."
Yeah.
I know what it's like. I was an heavy smoker myself. Jace don't smoke. He never has done. And your dad have one in the house because you'd get, like his lungs are falling out. Jace is one of them non-smokers. I used to stand on the doorstep and smoke. But I can honestly say, Sam, I haven't missed it. And I thought I would do, but I really haven't missed doing it. And it's nice smelling everything normally again now. And food tastes better as well.
Yeah.
Food starts to taste a lot better. I never started. Elizabeth, I'll tell you something. I was an heavy smoker. My son's mother's an heavy smoker. My son has never, ever touched a cigarette, ever. He's dead set against cigarettes. And yet me and his mother were both heavy smokers. But my son has never. I never smoked round him. Obviously, when he was, I'd go outside and stuff. But he's always been very anti-smoker, even though both his parents are heavy smokers. Elizabeth, Andy, the only time I'm smoking is when I get cross. Lol, the smoke comes out my ears. I actually had a seriously amazing, almost out-of-body experience one day whilst being massaged. Even my mate's sister felt it, and she was well shook up. She did the massage, Andy. I've said to Nick with him working, if he needs to smoke, just have one, just don't quit for me. This is the thing, Alana, you've got to quit for yourself. You can't quit for anybody else. You've got to do it for yourself. My husband and myself are heavy smokers. My two children don't smoke. Now they're adults. Yeah, my son's exactly the same guy. He's never ever tried smoking at all. He's got no interest in it whatsoever. Jesus, my granddad smoked 400 unfiltered players now. He cut a day. He'd used to light one cig in the morning and he'd light the others off the previous cig. That sounds like my nan and granddad. My mum and dad and brother were heavy smokers, so that put me off. I hate the smell, yuck. Remind me not to upset Elizabeth, lol. But you know what was interesting when I had this attack, I had no NDE this time, Sam. There was no, but I think it was because I stayed aware the entire time. I didn't black out or anything. So there was no annoying ginger woman this time because I stayed conscious the entire time. I did actually wonder the other day if I'd have flaked out, would she have been there again? It did make me wonder.
Yeah.
Because I really don't want to meet that woman again, not after I swore at her the first time. You know what Nick's like, he's doing it because he wants to, apparently. My son started the same as me, several years smoking non-standard roll-ups, long before taking up tobacco. I've known people who smoke that Andy and have never touched tobacco in their lives. You know, it's just one of them things. It's like any other drug. You either get addicted to it or you don't. I'm lucky in the respect I ain't a big drinker.
Mm.
You know, I could happily go 12 months and not have a drink. So, you know, and yet all my family are fairly big drinkers. My youngest sister, particularly, and her husband, you know, they can't exist without a can in their hand. But me, I've never been a big drinker.
Well, I used to. I went through a period of my life where you know, I had depression and that.
Mm-hmm.
And
I drunk in my younger years, you know, when I was 18, 19, 20 sort of thing. But
yeah,
no.
And I met this friend who, she helped me away a lot. I was sick for a while, and she always used to come around every day to make sure that I had exercised and stuff to keep my legs moving and things like that. I used to do my hair and all sorts, help me with all sorts and that. And I noticed by around 7 o'clock, she started to sort of have a bit of a slurry voice. Or say if she was doing my hair and she says, I'll be back in a minute, she'd go into the bathroom and she'd come out and she'd smell of drink. I wasn't aware that she was addicted to alcohol. And next thing I found out on Facebook that she died.
Oh, wow.
I knew she went in the hospital a couple of weeks before that. And I found out sometime before that she had gone into hospital with liver issues. And the last time I seen her, I seen the yellow in her eyes. And something just told me, I'm going to ask you to do one thing for me. I'm asking you not to die. And she just kissed me in the forehead and she says, I can't promise you that.
Yeah.
And she just before that all happened, she used to bring a lot of her stuff over to my house. She used to give me a lot of things. And, you know, up towards the end, she used to wear a lot of crosses.
Yeah.
And she had this cross on rosary beads, and she used to always rub it like this. And there was an intent in the cross. And when she took that cross off from around her neck and put it around mine, I says, that's the last I'm going to see of her.
Yeah, yeah. I do believe, Sam, that certain people do know when they're going to pass on. I'm convinced some people know.
It looked like she had already known, you know, that she had prepared to do that.
Yeah, she was ready to go.
You know, I have that cross. It's say if this house went on fire and that, there's a box out there with the cross in it and her little card and that's the first thing. You know, that's the first. That's the one thing I would grab before running. Yeah. If I had nothing else.
But I am convinced that there are people out there who know when they are going to pass over. You know, and I've witnessed it for myself with somebody. I had a friend who kept insisting they were going to pass over, and there was nothing wrong with them, Sam. They were perfectly healthy, but they kept on and on and on that they were going to die at such a time. And around about that time, they did. You know, and they went from being perfectly healthy to dead in the matter of a week, sort of thing.
the thing was she used to hide the smell of alcohol by wearing a lot of perfume.
Yeah.
And I knew that she was coming because the dog would stand out at the door. And I moved apartments since, and one day I was out, and I was actually I missed her, and sometimes she just all of a sudden would just start burst out crying and stuff.
Yeah.
I came home, and I opened the door and I said, "What the hell has happened here?" It was like a bottle of perfume had split open and
Fill the house.
And filled the house. And I looked everywhere, nothing was amiss. And the dog was, coughing and spluttering and stuff. I opened all the windows and the smell would not leave.
Do you believe that was her way of saying goodbye, Sam? Or letting you know she was still there?
I'm nearly sure because it was a familiar smell.
Yeah.
I don't have those perfumes in my house.
Mm-hmm.
You
think that was her way of saying to you, "I'm still here"?
Yeah. Well, the dog doesn't. Yeah. The dog doesn't go to the door very much, but she did that night. She did that night. We actually had to leave the house for a couple of hours because it was so intense. It happened on 2 occasions.
Yeah.
I've tried Spirit Box. It doesn't work. That communication doesn't work in this case. But there was another day. I met another friend, and she says, you need to let go. You need to go through that makeup and see what's good and see what's bad, and you need to get rid of it. I know it's belonged to her and all the rest of it, but we'll keep the stuff that is good and we'll throw away what's bad.
Yeah.
And it was a hard thing for me in that.
And
I was standing here at the table, and next thing I got this hand on the shoulder like that. And I don't know. I can't explain it. But nothing. Apart from I used to hang the cross up in the house here, and sometimes it would shake on its own. There'd be other things hanging up with it.
And that'd be the only thing moving.
And I picked up the camera one day and I recorded it and stuff. And I was
have you ever tried using it as a pendulum, Sam, to contact her with?
No, I've only tried the Spirit Box.
You should try it as a pendulum. Use it as a pendulum and try and contact her with it.
And there was one.
It'd be the perfect way of doing it, Sam.
There was one night where the smell was so intense of perfume, and this cross was swinging over and back, just beyond the mirror behind me. And I picked up the camera, and I recorded the whole thing. And I even recorded the dog coughing before we abandoned the house. And then I looked back on it, and you know what I done? I pressed delete.
Yeah.
I says, this is not for the people. This is personal. I can't put this evidence out there because it's so personal. I can't do this, and I just deleted the footage. I says, I know it's there, and I won't put anything like that out there. That's personal,
But you should do it as a personal thing, Sam. Or I would definitely try it as a pendulum and do it as a personal contact, off camera sort of thing, and see what you get.
Yeah.
It's all right if you mention it too much in chat, guys. It'll flag me stream as a discussion on that more so than as a paranormal one.
Well,
yeah. It's all right. I'm discussing something in the chat that really needs not be discussed in the chat too much. I don't want it being discussed, but not, not on a long, what's it? Catch you later, Alana. It was nice to see you on. Let me know how you get on with the smoking, because I'm really interested to see how you do and Nick get on.
Jack's in the house. Hello, Jack.
Jackson. Oh, all right, Jack. But yeah, I would say if you're getting some kind of reaction off that cross, I would definitely try it as some form of pendulum communication. Like I say, you know, if it's a personal thing, you don't want to do it as a video, but I would definitely do it as a personal type thing. Eating on a bit and it will get paranormal for you, lol.
I've had enough of that chair.
Has it dropped you down again?
It just went from up here to down there again.
Kaya's staring at me now. I've got nothing for you at the moment, Kaya. I've got nothing for you. Yeah, I need to take my tablets in a bit, Sam. I'm starting to flag. So, time is it? We'll go for another 5 minutes and then I'll cut the stream short.
You know,
we've been going for 2 hours.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's good having a chat rather than typing. I don't particularly like typing. I like the personal chat, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Elizabeth says it sounds like your friend's still there, Samantha. It certainly it does to me as well, Elizabeth. And I think the fact that Andy says you look so much better on the chaise lounge, Sam.
All right.
He's on about you reclining on the sofa. We're trying to get her to do that again, Andy. Don't worry.
Yeah, I've got a new sofa as well.
Yeah, she's got a new sofa to recline on now.
Yeah, nice red leather.
Yeah, so we can have her on the front of Paranormal Times, reclining on the chaise lounge.
I'm getting all posh now.
But yeah, Elizabeth, I agree with you. And I think the fact that you've seen movements on the necklace tells me that she's still got something she wants to say to you, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, like,
still some contact there wanted.
It's one of those losses that you don't get over with, you know.
No.
But the thing is, she was pushing me to get on with my life and make the most of my life, and she was always very positive and stuff like that, because sometimes I had been down, and she says, you know, she'd come in and say, "What's wrong with you?" Oh, this and that and that. She says, "You're not allowed to be sad today. It's Tuesday. You're not allowed to get sad on Tuesdays." And then she would have she had this funny laugh, you know, this kind of, you could hear her laughing for miles and that. So if I ever get laughing on the spirit box, I'm not going to get freaked out, you know?
Yeah. Don't you find that though, Sam, is the people who are the most unhappy themselves always go out their way to make everybody else happy?
I've heard so many stories after she had died of people that she went out and helped.
Mm-hmm.
But when she did die, her mother had to ask me for an item that she could remember her from, because she had given away everything.
All right.
Before she died, she had distributed everything amongst her friends. Yeah. Designer outfits, jewellery, makeup.
Wow.
Every day she used to come here with a bag.
Mm-hmm.
And I had cushions. They're polka dot kind of cushions. It took me 2 years to make them, but she made me promise that I would make the cushions for the other couches, which were brown. So she brought me brown material and that. It took me 2 years to make the cushions, but I did fulfill the promise. So I have those cushions, you know. Do you know it's part of a process of coping, you know, hoping that our loved ones are around us, and that keeps us happy.
Do you know what's really odd, Sam? I have never ever. Now I have lost two brothers and a sister, right? And a child of my own. And I have never, ever had contact of any of them on the spirit box. And you know, it's never even occurred to me to do it either. And it was only when we were talking about it a few months ago that it actually occurred to me how weird that was, that I've never even considered doing it.
Yeah.
You know, it's never, you know, does that mean that tugging on the back of my fleece, Christina asked her dolls, and they said it was caused by my father? That's interesting, Andy. You know, so I've always wondered, Sam, does that mean that they have passed on and they've no need to contact me? They know that you know, they don't need, or there's nothing they need to say to me. Well, that's what I'll take it as.
Well, maybe they can't communicate in that kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Night, Jack.
Good night, Jack. You have a good night.
You know, maybe they do still listen, though.
Oh yeah, I do believe that people stay around you. You know, I do genuinely believe that. And, you know, I do believe, you know, when people say, oh, my guardian angel's done this, I do believe that there is something in place that when you desperately need help, that there is someone there for everybody to provide that help. You know, I don't they appear directly in front of you and go, you know, I'm your fairy godmother, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, I do think a lot of people find that what they need actually occurs for them at the time they need it. And I do believe that there's somebody, probably a family member, who's there pulling the strings to make sure it happens.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to call it a night then, guys, because it's now 11:10. And I know these streams are a bit shorter than what they normally are. We normally go for 3 hours, but at the moment I'm finding round about 2 hours is more than enough for me, with needing to drink and stuff like that. So I'd just like to say thank you to everybody for coming in tonight. Thank you for the super chats again as well. It is much appreciated. I'm going to put them towards a chair for the new desk, and that'll be pretty much most of the indoor setup sorted out then. It'll only be bits and pieces I'll get myself after that. So that'll go towards the chair. So thank you very much. Thank you to Sam for coming on and having a chat.
No problem. No problem.
Thank you very much to everybody who's provided that, you know, their own questions and insights in the chat, because you people are what make it. And I'll just say a good night to everybody. We will be back on Sunday. We'll be doing card readings and then another general chat. Hopefully Sam will be on. Are you coming on Sunday, Sam?
I can do, yes.
So you'll see Sam again on Sunday. Andy should be with us as well. I may do one midweek where people from the chat are allowed, you know, if they want to come in, the likes of Claire or Andy Kay or anybody, or Elizabeth or anybody else, if you want to pop in, and, you know, you don't have to show your face if you don't want to, and we'll just do a general midweek one.
I might do one too. But if I feel like it. You know me, you know. I say I might go on tomorrow, and then I go the next day. I can't go on tomorrow. I don't feel that great or whatever.
Yeah.
But I will try. It's a nice social thing here, because, you know, some of us are on our own and stuff like that. It's great to have a chat, you know.
The likes of, that's a general saying for me, Andy. The likes of. Right, so thank you all, and you have a great night, everybody, and we will see you on Sunday. Have a nice VE day, or what's left of it, everybody. So, good night.
Good night.
See you all Sunday. Good night.